Today, I analysed the Springlock failure scene in the FNAF movie. Stay tuned to the end, this one was hilarious. Hope you guys enjoy. Alright, we got bang on 3 minutes to analyse. Happy birthday FNAF, 10 years, a decade. Let's just get straight into it.
Hey.
You can hear how the music rises with each footstep from William Afton. As he gets closer and closer in proximity to Abby, the music gets closer and closer to its crescendo. And upon the big moment, Abby slams that pin down on that piece of paper to the wall, and the music does its thing to emphasize that moment. Another thing that I noticed previously is that in that close-up of William, you can see that look of confusion on his face. It really raises tension, keeping the viewer on the edge of their seats, awaiting the big reveal. Tension building is one of the greatest parts of filmography as a whole, since without it, the huge plot points and reveals wouldn't be as powerful. So that's one really important thing to keep in mind when watching this or any other kind of media, whether it's action, horror, comedy, uses that in a very confusing sense, but it's still there nonetheless. There's different types of tension building that are used in every single piece of media, really, that has a script and a director. Tension is everywhere, even in our own lives. So that's one really important thing to understand when viewing and analysing media, since it's used absolutely everywhere. And as the lights are switched off, we see William Afton, that close-up shot of the main villain, the one that's previously been revealed to be a psychopathic murderer who's changed the direction and ruined many people's lives, whether it's children, the family of those children, anyone who he's come in contact with has been affected by his presence in a very negative way. To see this man who was previously so powerful be painted in a saddened light with that look on his face and that very depressing tone. Another thing to note is that lighting is utilized, especially in film, in incredibly wondrous ways which you wouldn't really take note of, yet it still makes the emotions of the scene so much stronger. Humans react a lot to colours, our eyes react to colours, and tones of certain scenes can be emphasised with colours. So this blue bordering on white light gives us a sense of dread and sadness, and you see in his face drops. To see the villain, oh so powerful seconds ago, have this insane look of confusion, dread. It's really worrying for the viewer. You're like, this cannot be more powerful than this man already is right now. There's no way this could have bigger consequences than what he was acting out moments earlier. It seems unbelievable, and that's what's great about this specific scene, this frame. It allows us to see, sense, and feel those emotions from his facial expressions, his body language, the lighting, the way it's directed, the way that it's really up close in his face so you can actually see those expressions. It's all really well orchestrated by many different teams so that it really instills that thought into your mind. It's so powerful. Damn, really powerful. And I told myself I'd be having a break after the last video, but then I forgot about the anniversary. Drink on that. That was some good water. Anyway, hydrate. Ooh, this bit. Wow. At first glance, and I experienced this myself, when I saw this, I was like, why are the angles so odd? Why is the camera placed at so many different angles? And sharp angles at that. It just confused me. But then I realized, and this is just what I thought, it worked for me, and it made me feel a bit more comfort in it. I was like, yeah, I'm confident in this opinion, but you might disagree. That it gave us that sense of anticipation still, building that tension even more, even though it was just broken. Since it's a common horror movie trope to not show the villain in full, and they did that with William Afton in this movie, that applies to other characters as well. So even though it's not a character, it's an object, but it has a lot of semblance with us, it still works the same. They show the lights flicker and it's shaking. It builds up more anticipation because you're wondering what the hell's going to happen next. And that's why it's angled so differently, because it doesn't want to show the full image of Freddy Fazbear, the sign rocking back and forth, because it won't be that impressive. But as they zoom in on it, because you zoom in on something, you make it smaller because you're going on a magnified bit, the shakes look a lot more violent, and it aids us to construct this hypothetical situation in our mind that builds up more what? Tension. Because we've just had that reveal, that moment where everything dropped dead silent. They have to keep it going because the true climax of the story has not yet appeared. The scene where William Afton appeared, which was a great scene. There's a lot of anticipation up to the moment. But then you think, oh, the reveal's happened now. There's no way they could get me back into that scenario, that cycle, where I've gone back into having more tension and anticipation in my body. But what have they just done? They've done it again. Very intelligent directors and teams on different films, movies, media, all that stuff will be masters at doing this. Building up tension, having a reveal, and then immediately going back to building more tension for another reveal. So it's moving so fast that you don't have a chance to process what's going on. So for example, a reveal happens like William Afton. He comes out, you're like, whoa, he's here, but then immediately he starts attacking. You don't have that chance to process the fact that he's actually here. But then in 5 minutes time, they can go back to a long silence. And how come by that point you're not considering William Afton's here? Wait, that's because they've got you hooked on something different. It's a great ability to build something up and then have something happen, but it moves so fast to the next anticipation moment that when it occurs, that long silence that builds up that tension, you're not sat there going, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. You sat there going, I wonder what'll happen next. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's a really great thing in movies that I'm very fascinated by. Very cool. Boom, it goes dead silent. All that shaking, all those lights flickering, that last bit of hope. Light is a symbolism of hope, and when it all goes, it's all gone, the dread truly sets in. This outward shot is also a really great thing to show as well, since we've just had that scene previously with all those different shots from different angles that I spoke about, where it's making that sign shake seem so intense and it's just building up, flickering, and then boom, it's gone. From an outward shot, it looks like nothing. The lights just go off. The pizzeria is dwarfed by the world around it. But a second ago, you were really on the edge of your seat and it's like rattling. You're feeling that bit of fear that something really bad's gonna happen. Then you see that in the grand scheme of things, it's that small. But what does that do, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between? It builds tension. How about that? Great thing of horror movies. Oh my goodness, he's paused it again. What? Cryptid just paused? What? Didn't even let us have a 5-second moment. I don't want to get copyrighted. Long silences with ambience in the back are great T-word builders, because I don't want to use the word tension that much, because everyone will be like, damn, this guy just says tension. You know what? Long silences with ambience in the background really build tension. All right? Really build that tension. But the thing is, it's so important. That's why I say it so many times. It's unbelievably important. Around half of a movie's execution is just tension. It's just building up the anticipation for the scene that's about to show. About 95% of a reveal in a movie is just tension. The reveal itself is the 5%. It's just pulling all those strings and making everything work so well and blend well together, just like this, to make the scene work and convey the emotion that you want to convey through the scene. But look at William. If you look at his hair, he's actually sweating. But I don't know if that's just a Matthew Lillard thing, being in a hot suit, or whether he's just genuinely nervous as the character. But we can just take it as the character for now. I don't want to diss Matthew.
Have you done?
More dread. Look at him. What have you done? Proper looking around, the shake in his voice. Dude, I love when they do that in movies and everything, dude. And it seems like a small thing, but to me personally, you have to be a great actor. Like, the actor is so good that they can use the tone of their voice and add additional things to it to emphasize their words and obviously speak well. Since one major factor as to what makes these actors so great is their vocal, in addition to physical and emotional performance. If you notice, in a lot of films, the actors pronounce the consonants and the vowels perfectly, because it just makes everything so much easier to understand. And then, another enormous thing that makes a great actor, when the character's in a moment of distress or fear, maybe they're in a confrontation, or as you'll see in a minute with William, in a face-off with about 5 different robotic killer animatronics, they lose that perfect pronunciation when they get into fight or flight mode. They start to slur in the words and start to improvise. It makes it more believable and realistic. So yeah, that is a great thing, which all stemmed from Matthew Lillard with that little quiver in his voice there. The music in the background, it's so confused. It's more ghost-like. It's building up this next big moment, and the cameras show Mike struggling really hard, attempting to get through this. And we're just sat there like, wow, where is this story gonna go? We're building up to something massive now. Something is going to happen. Something chaotic. Ooh, I love that sound effect as the camera cuts to a close-up. What a great close-up. This bit, a very subtle version of the opening theme music in the background, zooming in on these animatronics as they realize, after all this time, that the man they've been following was the bad guy all along. He was manipulative, he cursed their minds, and it's a mix of sadness, disbelief, and triumph as they finally realized, but the unfortunate reality of it is depressing, and obviously that shock from realization. So many different emotions floating about that all clash with each other, yet it still works so well. And it seems so kiddish, doesn't it? It's like, what are they doing? This animatronic bear is just like squinting, and then it's just showing a close-up of a piece of paper. But the backstory behind it and the way that this scene builds it up may have that effect at first glance, but in retrospect was a great way to perform that and convey their view to us. And the subtle screams to prove that this is not as innocent as it seems. The screams of the dead children combined with, as I've said before, the direction of the camera, the scene, the lights, everything molds together in this scene to create a great little moment. And I'm not going to finish my sentence yet because the video's not over. Ooh, more of that from a different angle of William there. The dread once again. The emphasis on how monumental this moment is and life-changing, after-life-changing, you could say. They know the truth, and they're out for revenge.
They can see you now.
Now, that may give the vibe to some people of one of those creepy horror movie children that are scary and possessed. But to me, personally, I just think it's really well done. Obviously. Whoa, Mr. Positive. I am Mr. Positive, by the way. If you're new to this channel, I'm very positive. So if you don't like positivity... Why do I have to... Just please, if you don't like it, move on. Some people call me the King Glazer because I glaze this entire thing, everything ever, actually. All the good things, I mean, I glaze the good things. Not the bad things. But the line from Abby to me just made it seem so much more sinister. It's set in stone because it's been said. Like, we were all thinking it. They know the truth, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, they're back for revenge. But Abby is the one to say it. And another great thing is the way that they're walking towards William. Slowly. One foot in front of the other. Getting closer and closer. Surrounding him. Keeping him trapped. Just like they are, trapping him in a flurry of robotic parts, just as they are now in those suits. And I don't just mean that figuratively, I mean that literally. Because right now, it's already symbolizing that the Springlock's gonna happen. Because the children are in robotic suits, pierced by metal. And those suits are made of metal. They're surrounding William. William is a human, surrounded by beings of metal. Those beings of metal are animatronics. Guess where he ends up? Surrounded by pieces of metal inside an instrument of metal. Spring Bonnie, the suit. His fate was sealed. He was already going to be Springlocked, which we already knew, by the way, but anyway, just ignore that. If you're not aware of the Springlock failure, it's already cemented in this moment when they begin to surround him. Because the whole thing is just a huge symbolism for a Springlock failure. The beings made of metal parts turning against you. The metal parts literally turning against you, piercing you through the skin. Because the Springlocks, for some people who may not know, they wrap around the body, they surround, and they clamp down under the presence of pressure. So it goes even deeper. He's being pressured by robotic beings into a corner, being surrounded by robotic beings made of robotic parts. The beings of robotic parts have turned on him, just like the Springlocks turn on him later and go directly into his skin, literally, and he gets trapped, surrounded by metal parts. Because the Springlocks fell under pressure. That is a great thing that I've only just noticed now. I only saw it at surface level, but now it goes so much deeper. The whole thing makes so much more sense. Oh, wow. Look who's just had a revelation today. Crazy.
They know what you did.
Oh, this is where it gets good. They know what you did. That's another great line that sits with you. I remember that line. Maybe it's just me, but... Anyway, as William approaches, we see the singular foot. They don't fully show Foxy for another millisecond. They just show his foot. His foot, boom, right in front of him, blocking, showing that they are now not only fully surrounding him and preventing him from escaping, but also protecting Abby now, the innocent, who they've protected this entire time for being a fellow child, but now they know for real is not evil. Nor is her brother. It was all a lie. And then we see Foxy from this side profile view. Doesn't he just look insanely intimidating in that moment? Slowly turn him round. The electricity flowing through his mechanical veins into his metallic being. And not to mention the movement itself, that slow turn. Slow, but sharp. It's in short bursts. Little painful jolts as he slowly turns to face him. This individual who, as I said previously, was so powerful. To us, yes, but to them, He's like a god, a deity keeping them alive. The supposed one link to their immortality. And on the flip side, see what I did there? The one who's bound them to eternal suffering. And now, he's standing up to him.
Move!
You see this side of William now, he begins to get aggressive, and as I've said previously, the vocal performance overall is amazing because of the fact that it degrades in this scene. Isn't that weird? The vocal performance gets worse, which makes it overall better. Because, as we see, he begins to slur his words and say things that aren't very clear in the moment because he's so nervous and worried, which is realistic. So really, Matthew, you need to know what? I don't know what to say about this. I'm just enjoying it. Also, the two shots of the lights coming on, boom, boom, in his face, blocking his vision, very literally shedding some light on the terror, the horrors of his being and his twisted creations. Fully in view, brighter than ever, no longer in the shadows, behind, pulling all the strings like a puppet master. That is really great, those scenes. I said that previously. The way that it just goes from light on, deflect between the two. It's really great, and it just makes that scene so much better and more memorable because there's so many different things going on, yet still, it's understandable. That's a very subtle break from the tension there, because you're on the main event, you want to know what happens to William, but then it shows Mike stumbling out, yes, injured, but not what you were looking for, which overall is a good thing. The intro music coming back again and getting louder and louder, faster and faster in tempo, building up to this triumphant moment. They slowly approach once again, continuing their journey towards him to get him trapped, to allow him to feel what they feel. And look at his face, William Afton, the murderer. I've never seen an antagonist fall from power so easily, to become weak and defenseless. All that he's able to do is block the light from shining in his eyes, and that is not enough. For all that pain and suffering to be overshadowed, it's not enough.
Look at you. Look at the nasty
revolving camera. If you don't know what that is, it's a camera that goes in a circle to emphasize a scene and make it seem more 360 to show every character in the scene and really emphasize that space and give you an idea of what he's looking at. And the key for the animatronics in focus as he's going off and shouting at them, because William Afton, though he takes up most of the screen, he's blurred. And that's a really great thing in film as well. Changing the focal distance of the camera to meet a different object in the distance so that you can see it full well. There it is. Also, you may have noticed we can see William Afton crumbling. He is dying in this moment. There's nothing left for him to do. All hope is lost, so he's just deflecting everything. All those allegations, he's saying it's you. You are the reason. Attempted to do what he's done this entire time and downplay them and make them seem worthless so that they work for him, the higher power in quotes, but now they know that they have the upper hand, and they're not backing down. The psychology of William Afton in this moment could be analysed for days on end, but I'm just going to try and sum it up in this video the best that I can.
things that you have become. Look how small you are. How worthless you are.
See them, they're not even flinching. They may be stopping, but they're stopping for a reason. What is that reason? It's because of what's about to come. William thinks he's getting the upper hand because they've stopped. He thinks that he's got that. He's really triumphant. He's standing tall. He's saying, you're the issue. Wretched, rotten little beast you are. The nasty things that you've become. Not that I've made you. I have made you who you are, but you're the only reason that you are nasty. You're nasty because of yourselves, but don't forget the one who created you to be that way. And then, it's a whole twisted thing, isn't it? Because he's attempted to say that you're wretched, rotten little beast and you're nasty, you know? You're disgusting, who want to be around you? Worthless children. But then again, he's saying, I made you. It's like, well, yeah, you made me to be like that. If Freddy had a voice in this movie and it wasn't just an, you know, static shouting or whatever. What? Cryptid, bro. If he had a voice, I'd be honest, they would be mouthing off at each other right now. He's like, wait, that's so stupid, bro. You're saying that we're stupid? What is going on? Hey, you saying we're stupid? What the hell, man? That's so mean. Wait, you made us? Wait, you made us? What the hell? If you made us stupid, so shut up. But no, there's no common sense in the room because they're only focused on what's about to ensue. Which I can't blame him for, because this guy, this little deviant, he's deserving it right now. But I just love how they show all the characters together. Unified, in unison, moving together as a team, working together to take down this ultimate threat. The one who they've bowed down to for so long, this dictator of their lives that they can't shake off. Now they're finally going to put an end to, because they know that it's about time. Now they know the truth. They can end that suffering for good. Because previously, they had no real motive or reason to say, yeah, well, you're bad because you make us suffer for eternity and we smell. And it's more than that, obviously. But there was no real allegation against him. It's like, you're making us suffer. It's like, well, keep on suffering. I have power over you. But now they know what he truly did. It's like, wait a minute, you killed us? What? You killed? What? That's not cool. You're always saying that we're your children. Like, I thought we were bros. We had a connection. But apparently you killed us? We can't be having that. And now they realize the true magnitude of their own situation because they're stuck in these bodies and there's no real sign of escaping. But if you kill this man who put you there, because now you know that he put you in those suits, the yellow rabbit is not your friend. He's not the friend that you thought he was when you were there as a child. And obviously they're still children, but I don't really know, like 30 years old, but do they age? I don't know. They're still children at heart though, that's what I can say, because they kind of been frozen. Their soul was like frozen in that time frame. And because they'd never got to live out their full childhood, they're kind of keeping that repressed. So when Abby comes in and she's like 8, and they're still mentally 8 or 6 or whatever, so they're like, yeah, we can experience this again. This fun. But yeah, realizing that this guy was never your friend and never will be is a truly defining moment for this movie. Since previously, they just thought that they were dealing with the cards they were dealt with in the best way possible. But no, it's not that way. That's not how it is. You can make a change. You can stop this suffering and this abuse by stopping this man for a start. That will help, maybe. And then we could tackle the situation of, yeah, I'm kind of a dead child in a body. Can we sort that out, please, guys? But either way, it doesn't matter because still, they're making a change. They're standing up against the hypocrisy. It's like a society between these 5, 6, 7, however many there are. Is the marionette even alive yet? I don't know. Between these guys, it's like a little community. And realizing that the dictator of this community this whole time was truly a guy to be fighting over. And it wasn't just like, I created you, I'm your leader. He actually has a weakness. And he did something so bad that if we get together and band together with enough rage, we can stop him for good.
You are wretched, rotten little beast! I made you!
Look at the way they're looking. Sat there, that did hurt. You can see in Freddy's eyes, it did affect still. Now, it could be taken in different ways. You can't really tell from the animatronics' expressions. But I'd say that that flinch there was kind of an, oh, that hit, you know? We are wretched. Maybe we shouldn't do this. But then Chica is like, Cupcake! Do it quick before he gets second thoughts and has a crisis. Now, one side note, I did actually download this clip from Movie Clips, you know, shout out there. So I don't know how much I actually have to analyze of this scene. It says we're halfway through, but is there really that much material? We're just gonna go with it. Also, Universal, I love you. Please don't copyright the video. I love that bit when he jumps out. Dude, when Carl, what's his name now? What's his name? Mr. Cupcake. When he jumps out, that's such great direction, man. It's just literally just a scene showing him jump. But like the animation in that, or the puppetry or whatever, I mean, I think it's like half animation, maybe the cupcake at least. It is a physical body, but would have been tainted in a couple of ways to make it seem more realistic, like the jump, obviously. Because otherwise, I think it was probably lifted up by string, maybe to begin with. I don't really know how it worked behind the scenes, but I know that there was a bit of special effects involved with the cupcake specifically. But just the way that it's made, and I'd love to see the behind the scenes, really, because it's very interesting how movies are actually made. And I won't go off on a rant about that. You can just kind of get it from the attitude that I have right now. I am quite bananas, you know, but cuckoo, maybe a little bit. I'm just passionate about FNAF, dude. It's been 10 years, and I'll have a speech at the end of the video, whatever. Boom! The moment! And if you notice one little detail, the music doesn't start until he's been struck by the first one. It's like, boom, and it lets it set in. It's like, wow, he's just been stabbed. And then, you get the other one going, and when the other one goes in, the music begins. And just that struggle in his final moments before his fate was fully sealed. That struggle is something we can kind of relate to, something that stuck to us that we just can't get rid of. It doesn't have to be a physical cupcake biting at your stomach, but it can be something that gives you that kind of pain in your gut, a bit of anxiety. And just a side note, I'm not going to connotate this Springlock scene of William Afton dying to mental health issues. I just wanted to say that you can kind of get that there from the way that Matthew Lillard acts. It's like trying to get something off that he can, and people can very much relate to that moment where you're stuck with something and you want to act on something, you want to do something, but you're held back by something else. It's like William Afton wants to shout at these kids, but then he's held back by that cupcake. He's like struggling to get it off. It's like being hit with something that gives you that little bit of anxiety and prevents you from doing something else. It's just a bit of an allegory there that I could have related this to. But this, amazing, absolutely amazing. The revolving camera as it goes round and you see Chica's oddly smug face staring back. Very well done. Insanely well directed. I've said this entire video. It is too goddamn good. The struggle is real. He's trying so unbelievably hard to deal with this moment and he's in shock. Look at the shock on his face. It's Matthew Lillard, man. It's so well. Look at him. His face. He conveys that emotion so unbelievably well. It's incredible. So first we have that revolving shot, and then we have the inward shot of it digging into his skin. Oh, maybe not his skin, the fabric, but into his skin, basically, yeah. It's quite hard to look at. The way that the dagger just goes straight in. I say dagger. The spring lock, so sharp, and it just goes tsh. It skewers through. It's rough and tough. It's like, it's too blunt to pierce straight away, so it's just slowly digging in before it does fully dig in and pierce through the skin. So that moment when you see it inside the suit, it's a real, like, quiver moment. You know, it gives you that feeling. It's a feeling through the visuals and the audio. The way that he's going, trying to prevent this and not bleed out, and he's feeling that pain, trying to cope. And then combined with the visuals, you know, and then obviously the audio of the thing going in, the spring lock, not exactly a but a mechanical sound of it going straight in. That lock sound, spring lock, combined with that visual, can give you a physical reaction. Isn't that great that you can see and hear something on a screen and get a physical reaction from it, like goosebumps or something like that? Not goosebumps the material, I mean like physical goosebumps on your body. You already know when you have a physical reaction from something on screen, it's done well. Maybe it's just done for shock value. There's some movies out there that are just done for shock value, very much horror movies, very common. It's just like, damn, I'm just gonna chop someone up, yeah, special effects, practical effects, a bit of fake blood, and then it's like, it gives you that physical reaction, yes, but what I'm saying is that the action moments in these movies give you a physical reaction because of how gruesome they are. That's good, but combined with the fact it's not just that gives you shivers. The lead up to it, the emotion in certain moments, times that combine both, such as when William kicks Mike in the face, you get that moment where it's leading up, the anticipation is giving you a bit of goosebumps and a physical reaction, such as being on the edge of your seat, and then the actual kick itself is the gore aspect, the shock value, and you're like, oh, and you have a physical reaction from that gore bit, and then you have an emotional reaction from the fact that he's been hit and down. So it's like an on the edge of your seat moment, and like an, oh, we got hit moment, and then it's like a physical goosebumps kind of emotion, maybe on your a facial expression, like a sadness of when you realize, wait, Mike's gone down, you know? It's a mix of three. It's a triad. How about this? Action, anticipation, emotion. Boom. A triad I just made up. If there's a movie and you get a physical reaction from all three of this triad, it's a good movie. How about that? Let's use that as our bingo card. Really realistic. And don't ask me how I know how it's realistic, but it gives you that feel because it's not like an overly out there bit where he's going, and he's screaming. He's holding it. He's quiet. He's calmer. Ironic I said calmer there. He's attempted to hold it in and keep himself composed. He's there and it's gargling in his throat. He's, you know, really struggling on it. But he's got his mouth closed, so it's like going through him like it's a shiver. And that is more realistic to how human bodies actually lock up when they feel pain. Sometimes when there's so much pain inflicted, people just freeze up and go into a state where the pain is so unbearable that they just can't do anything. It's reminiscent of a seizure, maybe, where it's a combination of shock and pain that your body just locks up. It's like that if you have a really hot day, maybe, and you go in freezing cold water. That's why they tell you don't go into deep freezing cold water when it's boiling, because your body temperature goes from so warm to so cold that it just freezes up. It's shock. The shock of the instant pain, and your body goes into a fight or flight, and it's like, okay, I need to lock up. The best thing I can do right now is lock up and bump myself with adrenaline. So maybe it's less of a fight or flight and more of a lock up and stop up. You know what I mean? Get it? The acting from Lillard, though, is really great because it conveys this moment as truly suffering. The over-the-top screaming and shouting is just shock value by that point. Shock value is I don't know, what's an example? Being stabbed about 18 times in the heart by some random monster guy in a movie, and then screaming your lungs out. That is shock value. But this here, and it would be more realistic if someone was to get stabbed in a movie similar that used the same tones as this movie. They get stabbed a few times, but if you've been stabbed in the heart, you're dead. And most of the time, if you're stabbed in the heart or the lung, you can't scream. Again, don't ask me how I know this, it's science. Trust me, I deleted Reddit a long time ago. But it's just a fact of the human body that in certain places that are vital, when pain is inflicted on those areas, we just kind of stop. There's no room for anything else. Whereas, if you're in a moment where you're about to get into a fight, maybe a knife fight, for example, you both got them and you're anticipating, you're waiting for the other person to strike, and then one person throws a stab, and then if they get stabbed, and the other person's like, I've just got stabbed. Your body knows that you're ready to fight back, but this was shock. It's like, you were expecting there was a chance you were going to get stabbed there. Your body was like, you're going to get stabbed here, maybe, so I'm going to juice you up with adrenaline before he stabbed you. So then he stabs you, and you're like, okay, I can still fight on, even though your body might be failing. Here, it's such a shock, there was no anticipation towards this moment happening or occurring, that when it did, the body just locked up because there was no way for him to know. It wasn't previously induced with a bunch of adrenaline. There was no prior warning. There was simply the idea that there could be danger here, but his ego was so massive. You know, William's ego is so big, his body completely ignored the fact that danger is an option because these things have never attacked him before. He's never seen these beings attack anyone. Or maybe he has. Maybe he's told them to attack people, but they've never been aggressive towards him. So the shock of the fact that, oh, they're approaching me, it's like, yeah, I know you found out the truth, but look, you're this and that. And he's used to having that power. He's used to having that authoritative role and being able to command them to do whatever he wants, really, his bidding. But his ego was so big that he didn't realize he was losing that. So when he was finally inflicted with pain, the shock just completely shut him down. So really, the shivering of the face, and look at him, his eyes are wide open. William, or Matthew Lillard as the actor, is shocked. And that just emphasizes what I'm saying. I'm saying the body went into shock, and people are like, did it go into shock though? It's like, look at his face. The body definitely went into shock because his face is saying shocked, his body is saying shocked, everything is saying, I was not expecting this moment. Someone is a doctor on that team, and I'm gonna find out who, because that guy deserves a medal for the rant that he's got me to go on. Look at him looking at him. And the revolving camera as well. One thing I didn't know about before was that previous scene, you know, when they were just panning round, it was going behind the animatronics, and it was another example of focal distance. The animatronics were in front of the camera, then William was in front of them, but the animatronics that were the first thing in frame were blurred out, so you could just see straight in the middle of them and see William. But yeah, this bit, look at how cocky they're being. They're like, oh, this is happening. Look who's going on. It's a mix of kind of like, ha, we got you, and well, look at this. Look at this, Johnny. Look at this. Is it intimidation, really? But that bit is the bit that everyone remembers. The bit where he just like is up, like gets like stab, and then just stops for a minute and just really shakes. Like you can see in that moment, William is shaking, and then boom, crack again, and he pulls away. He jolts very quickly. You can tell I'm doing this behind the camera to get myself into this flow. He pulls away, and the pain and the breathing through the teeth as well is something that I wanted to know. He's just going that just shows more that the body is locking up. If you ever like fall over and cut yourself, no, not like cut yourself, don't do that. Like you fall over and you graze your knee or something, right? Especially when you were younger, if you did that and you've not got much of a pain tolerance, you're either crying or you're limping over. Maybe if you fell off your bike, you have a lot of adrenaline going already, so you fell off your bike, you can get back up and you're like back to your mother or whoever, saying like, hey, Kara, I've just grazed my knee, or I've just grazed my knee, ooh. And then you sit down and then you start crying because you realize, crap, my adrenaline wore off. That's what's occurring here. His body froze up, added a bunch of adrenaline hormones, quick, pump it out. And then when he finally had that adrenaline in him after locking up, he was, you know, a bit free again to kind of move. Because there was so much adrenaline, the pain was getting numb, but then he realized that his body was still locked up. So despite the fact that he's feeling pain, yes, his body's trying to mask some of that pain at the same time, and then through that, it's locking up even more because he's trying to not reverse the pain, but deal with the pain and endure it. So he's locking up, but he still has to breathe. And because of the amount of pain that he's in, he's struggling to breathe through his nose, so his mouth is the only option, and that's locked up. So really great job there on the acting, because that is something that not many people would actually know. And people were, I think, back when this movie came out, out, I still had Twitter, so the amount of people going, this movie sucks because I thought they were gonna have like an 11-minute scene of William dying, gruesome. Yeah, I don't know. That's from what I could remember. Damn negativity, man. Mr. Positive's here though, guys. Enjoy it. I love that bit, by the way, when Foxy opens his mouth. Just a note, I'm not going to go really deep dive into it. I just really like it because I think it adds a bit more awesomeness to his character and the scene as a whole. Zoom in. And what's really great, really, about this scene, actually, and also more shock from William there when that thing just clamps and he's like, ooh, and more shock because you can see that his face drops a second time, which is like, wow, this must be really painful and shocking. He didn't think that more was going to come. He was like, damn, I'm in a shock moment. But his body was so intendant of getting to those different nerves and pumping adrenaline that he didn't have a time to think, maybe this could happen again. Like, it stopped and his body's still going, right, quick, heal the pain. And then it's like, boom, another one. It's like, what? I didn't expect that coming. Even though 5 of them previously, it's like, we've just been stabbed 5 times. There's no way this could happen again, right? His body and his mind is so distracted by the pain that they forget that this could happen even more. So the shock is even more valuable. Now, what I actually wanted to get to was the subtle gore, right? It zooms in on his belly where the shirt is, and through the shirt, you see splashes of blood. People were complaining that this scene didn't have enough shock value in it because they wanted to keep that PG-13 rating, and yes, that is believable and true, but it gives it a sense of realism, doesn't it? Because in real life, yes, blood does come out a lot. That is kind of true. I'm not really well versed on people dying. I don't know. just want to put that out there. But obviously, being on the internet these days, unfortunately, the culture in schools as well, I'd be walking to school and then a guy would come up to me and just show me gore. So things that traumatized me are coming out right now. And as from what I can remember, humans, unless it's hit a blood vessel, blood isn't as prominent as you might think. Yes, blood can come out quickly and you can bleed out quickly, but it takes not that much blood to bleed out. And I don't think that's a gore thing. I think that's a genuine fact that I've actually heard, that I actually wanted to learn. Like, it wasn't something that someone was like, boom, this video, look at this guy, and it's like, ugh, and then I'm traumatized for weeks. This was an actual thing, I'm pretty sure. You can actually just pass out from not treating a big enough paper cut. It's just not enough circulation to a certain area, not enough blood going to a certain area because it's pouring out, and your body's like, right, pump more blood to that area because it's not got enough blood in it, and then more comes out, and it's like, yeah, that's why they ask you to put an ice pack on it, because it freezes those cells, I'm pretty sure, and something. That's a bloody Dr. Mike question, isn't it? But what I'm saying is, this is a realistic portrayal of what would similarly have happened in this scene. It wouldn't just be like that you see in the animations, which the animations were amazing. I love SFM animations. But the people who go for the shock value, great job, all power to you, but not realistic at all. Now, I'm not qualified. When you see the liquid blood just pouring out of the suit in those SFM animations from like 2016, no, not really how it would happen. And no, the FNAF 3 minigame either. There is not an 8-bit guy, perfectly square blocks of blood just fly out of his body. Not necessarily something that's realistic, but now I understand this is getting controversial, but then again, what did I tell you? I don't have Twitter, so no worries. But I just wanted to vouch for this scene because people didn't really like it when it first came out. And now they've warmed to it more. But I feel like it's a great thing to note that it's actually more realistic that if something has pierced you, something sharp, people say this if you ever get stabbed or anything, or you get impaled by anything, accidents, all that, you should never take the thing out. They say that about many things. Even splinters in some scenarios. If you get stabbed maybe with something, even if it's just a splinter, a lot of the time they say don't unplug it. Don't take the splinter out unless you have something on hand ready, like one of those antibacterial wipe things to like cover or bandages or something, because unless you have the ability to patch yourself back up, the one thing keeping that blood from pouring out is the thing that it's skewered inside. The thing that's caused that puncture is the one thing holding all that stuff in there. So really, William is being hit by all this stuff. Yes, some blood would peer out of it, but those spring locks, as gruesome as it is, act as a blocker for the body. And it's like, what? Metal daggers? Like, why? And that's, like I said, because it's blocking the blood flow from just pouring out. Like, sorry, that is how it would be. That's how it would be if it would happen. But as you see later on, in the later scene, when he's sat there, he's on the floor, there's a bit of a blood pool on the floor. That's because he sat in that position for a while, but it's nowhere near enough as to if you would have taken all those spring locks out, which is more realistic of what would have happened in those SFM animations. If the spring locks were a mechanism that just went in, out, then maybe you could justify those animations, but because of the actual way that they work, they just clamp down once and that's it. That's exactly how it would be. This scene is realistic. The way that he's jumping as well and breathing, so scared. Fear in his eyes. And honestly, I'm getting upset. Like, dude, I don't like seeing people in peril, man. Like, I know it's William Afton, but just like Matthew Lillard with like a sad face, like no hope, about to die. I'm like, dude, this is harsh. And before you guys call me soft, I don't know one man out there, one masculine Andrew Tate man who actually wants to see someone die. I'm just saying, unpopular opinion, even though it's fiction and movies are like the last thing that I watch. I'm a YouTube guy. When I do watch a movie and then a guy's dying on screen, I'm like, he's dying on screen. And then I look back at it now and I find a freeze frame from him dying and I'm like, dude, this is so sad. Look at his face. It's in these analyses that I actually realize how terrible these scenes actually were. But they flash by so fast that you're just like, this guy died on screen. Oh my goodness, blood. And then you look back and you're like, dude, the acting in this, how much pain was he in? Like the character, of course, like the acting of Matthew really emphasizes how much pain William was in that moment. And it's so incredibly interesting. That's why I always say you should analyze stuff, analyze scenes, because then you understand them so much more. And when you watch it again later on down the line, if you ever do, you understand that scene and you realize, yeah, I'm feeling these emotions because I know I've gone frame by frame and I've realized how much pain that character was in during those moments. I know that it's going to happen. So when the death scene comes back up, you actually feel for the villain a little bit more. And you can understand and appreciate the acting for being what it is. And then, you know, grasp that concept of how much pain he was actually in, which is a great thing to understand, really, when you think about it in retrospect. It's about to happen. That moment when it shows the mask and then he grabs it, you know what's coming. It's gonna happen. We're all buzzed. It's time. 10-year anniversary, man. Welcome. It is August 8th right now. What the hell?
I always come back.
Yes! Whoa! Sorry, guys. My bad. That was sorry. I have made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't seek to be forgiven. Anyway, where were we? This, man! Look how psychotic William looks in his final, in quotes, moments. He's put that face back on. The mask of William Afton, of Spring Bonnie, of Springtrap, presumably, Yellow Rabbit turning into Green Rabbit, is back. That masquerade is back because the physical mask, all we need now is the querade. The mask is there, and as he's putting the actual Spring Bonnie mask back on, he's just putting that figurative mask back on, which is the fake persona that he puts in front of himself to make himself seem confident. He's like, no, I'm not gonna die without a one-liner. I always come back, you know? I'm not gonna die without that. Damn, this is hilariously fun. I love this series. The faces all lighting up. Yes. See the psychotic look in his eyes, man. The way that he breathes, he's like, very stereotypical psycho in an odd way. You're really there, especially as a fan of the series. You're like, dude, this is William. This is him. Because he can be vulnerable at moments. He can put that mask back on. He can be that psycho. This is just William Afton. He's this mix of a bunch of different things. But overall, to the core, aside from all the times when he's in pain and he's upset, he's sad, he's depressed, in the middle of it all, really, he's truly a psycho to the core. Like, just because someone is a psychopath and their heart is cold and their entire being, and by that I mean characters, I don't want to talk on people right now, real people, no, but characters that are written to be rotten to the core can still have complex emotions outside of that. Like, let's take Inside Out, for example. It's like, let me give you an example. Let's take Inside Out for a second. Inside Out, the movie, yeah? Joy is the center emotion. That's what I'm getting at. Psycho, if it was an emotion, would be the center emotion. But then, sadness and anger, they're still there, but they're side emotions. Their core is psychotic, but they can have complex emotions outside of that. But if you took away all those other emotions, you'd be left with the core. But if you took away the psycho emotion off of him, or the psychotic mood, William would be gone. There would be no William Afton. It's like an identity crisis. If you take away the core emotion, the way that this character's written to be, to the core to be this heartless creature, if you get rid of that, there is no personality. Yes, sadness is still there, happiness is still there, anger's still there, but the core emotion's not, so the identity is gone. It's like taking away the foundation. Without foundation, everything just tumbles down. Your core emotion is the foundation, and everything else that builds off of that, the things that you may see even more, like you may see more anger or more happiness or more sadness from William on the surface, but if you go deeper inside, his whole being is psycho. Oh my goodness, the way that Freddy, Bonnie, Chica just staring down at him like, man, you fricked up really, didn't you? You really made a mistake. I don't know what Freddy sounds like. I'm just gonna keep saying random stuff in a very odd voice like, Oh, I love it. I love that bit where he's like twitching and the eyes are flashing on and off. And it's like he's trying to take over his soul again. It's as if William Afton's willpower is so strong. He keeps fading in and out of existence. That flickering is his soul, his heart stopping the beat. It stopped beating. It's beating so fast, really. That could be literally symbolic in the movie. Like, they actually programmed this to be like that, but I'm just taking its interpretation to be a symbol of how fast his heart's beating, because his heart's like... But then, in this moment, his final moments, final in air quotes once again, his heart is beating so fast, and he's trying to stay alive. He's using his willpower and really attempting, putting all that effort in, and it's shown through those eyes flickering on and off, like, because he's losing control, but he's got so much will that he can keep it together.
Springlocks.
That from Mike, man, that is a cold ass line. I'm telling you, the Springlock scene blew my socks off, but then when he said that line, I had to put about 10 pairs back on. The Springlocks. I'm sorry, maybe I'm just a FNAF fan and it's like, oh my goodness, I just heard my funny thing from funny series in funny movie, like, I heard the thing be said. It's like, his name is William Afton. What? Maybe it's at that moment. Maybe it wouldn't be as cold as the TikTok coolies like to say, which I just said 2 seconds ago. Maybe the moment wouldn't have been as impactful if it wasn't for my previous knowledge of Springlocks and all the game theories that I've watched and blah 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 da. Oh, red eyes! Guys, I can't believe they made the animatronics have red eyes in the movie, man. And then Blumhouse was like, sorry, this is something that got on my nerves for a bit. Oh, sorry, guys, we'll change the eyeball color to yellow instead. How about that? Meh, I'm still not happy there's a FNAF movie coming out. Blumhouse, I'll say that the eye change was a good call because it's iconic now. But I would have been fine with the red eyes, guys. Don't worry about it. And bringing them back at the end to show what it would be like to have red eyes, it's just looks fine, doesn't it? Don't try and cater to the haters. You'll never please a hater, but there's always a chance that you can please a critic. And by a critic, I don't mean an official critic. They are literally just haters. Movie critics are haters, right? So just ignore the title of critic. A real critic is someone that gives criticism with the intent to improve it, not with the intent to say, red eye's bad, you should change it to green, you should change it to blue or yellow or something, not the red eyes. And then they changed it to yellow, and you're like, bro, still, you know, you changed the thing that I wanted you to change, but I still hate you. Haters will never stop hating, but critics, they'll stop criticizing. Analysts, such as myself, will never stop analyzing those. So, sorry guys, tough luck. Now, I still don't understand why this place is burning down or falling down. Could someone explain that to me, please? Some people said it was the power of Golden Freddy. Then I'm sat here like, what the hell does that even mean? But if it is the power of Golden Freddy, or power to Golden Freddy, you know? He's really doing a good job at destroying this place right now. But I like the fact that, you know what, I'll get to it in a minute. Oh, red eyes, sinister red eyes. Woo! That's just such a cool scene, man. You know when things get too much? Like, you know when you're doing something and you're trying to explain something to someone, but then you just get too caught in the moment and you're like, dude, like the analyzing is getting harder and harder as this stuff gets harder and harder. You get it? You get it, guys? Get it? Because, you know what, anyway. Oh, the short little grab from Foxy there as he just cups it under the suit and begins to lift him up, you know. It's a very subtle thing, but there's so much chaos going on in the background if you think about it. Everything's falling down, they've got to pick up Vanessa and they're losing time, but then slowly, as William is suffering, once again, that's another bit of chaos. So all that chaos merged together, and then very calmly, Foxy reaches down and just curls round his hook and then begins to pull. It's like, why is he so calm? All this chaos going on right now, and Foxy's just like, wow, okay, let's go. He's not giving it a moment. He's not like, quick, grab him, quick. He's so calm about it, and everyone else is so calm. They're walking so slowly because they've got nothing to lose. They're like, we're dead. We're already dead. What is that? What is that? Anyone? Does anyone know what that is? Whatever it is, it sounds like a dead child, so rest in peace. Rest in peace. Also cool, though. Goosebumps when that happened. Like, my goosebumps have just died down from all those moments previously, but then this guy starts screaming, and I'm like, goosebumps? Oh, the stopping as well. The way that, like, the stopping and starting, and it just really emphasizes that and makes the stakes so much higher because they're struggling to get out, walking slowly out. You're thinking, is it going to collapse on them? Are they going to be okay? Oh, William. The twitching of William there, and then the voices in the background as they begin to go higher and higher in tone. The pitch of the voices and the way that they're singing in that, what is that called when it's like an echo and a conglomerate merge of a bunch of different voices all singing in harmony, like a hymn, you know, when it's like an echo harmonious sound. That's the best way I can describe the FNAF movie's theme. But you see William still twitching, like, that's what makes me think it's his eyes symbolizing his heartbeat, because it's going faster and faster, it's still flickering. He's like, and you can see sparks coming out from the eyes, and then you hear him, he goes like, "Rrr." He's in serious pain. Really emphasizing that scene, because obviously this is going on, and then Mike looks to the side, he's trying to help Vanessa, and then he looks to his right, and he just sees William freaking the hell out. It's such a powerful moment of, we've won, it's victorious, really. But it's a mix, too, of they've done it, and there's still a chance that Vanessa could survive, and William's being taken away so slowly and triumphantly. They've won, but still, can they get out alive? Oh, it's so good. It's the music, dude. Why does it go so hard when there's a harmonious hymn in the background of scenes? Like, just the voice, the high-pitched voice tone, like the way it's echoing, and all those people in one room together in harmony make it seem so much bigger than it actually is. And then this bit, listen to the music in this bit. How about that? It just completely up, and keeps going up, and crescendos. Everything's falling, and they're walking opposite directions. One to the entrance, or, well, the exit now, and the other side, dragging this pathetic human being further into the depths of the pizzeria to cement him in their domain so he can feel that pain. How about that for a rhyme? How symbolic is that, man? That is amazing. Dude, this movie absolutely blew me away. But anyway, I'm not here to review the movie. That was an analysis. I want to say that was great, and you know what? The end scene there, perfect. The tension, all of it building up, and then dropping at the end, it all fades to black. Great. Now, a little speech about FNAF, right? It's been 10 years, and I've grown from 10 years. I was young in 2014. I'm still young now, but I was younger. But don't worry, I didn't do anything stupid. Okay, I may have done something stupid, but hey, who didn't when they were younger, guys?
This is to my friend Leon. I'm sorry for pouring my yogurt on you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry for doing that. I was young and I was foolish.
But anyway, FNAF changed my life, right? I'll be honest, FNAF changed my absolute life. My absolute life. Not just my life, my absolute life. Yep. This thing has been with me throughout the whole thing. And I may be young, but things have happened, guys. You know, you can't escape that. And positivity is what's got me through it. And I must say, FNAF was a source of that positivity. So, Five Nights at Freddy's, dude, absolutely broke me. You know what? Screw this franchise. It broke me in a good way. Because it allowed me to get through things and obviously break in those scenarios, but then rebuild. Look at me now. I'm making YouTube videos, silly little internet videos. Great. And thank you to you all for being here. Guess what? My first video was a FNAF video, and then I deleted it because I thought it was cringe. How about that? It all comes full circle. I've been there since day one. Who's been here since day one? It's been me. I was the original Five Nights at Freddy's master.
Okay, the video's over now. Happy 10th anniversary FNAF. See you guys later.
Stay positive.
Goodbye.